good evening. Welcome to the Worldview Financial Report. It is September 18th, 2024, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, and that makes it 4:30 California time. Joining us now are the Bad News Bears, Wes Peters and Michael Weiner. Big news today. The Fed, they made a decision. Let's find out what it is if you didn't already know and where it's going to lead. Gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, good evening, Brandon.
So half a point, huh?
No
Big half.
surprise.
The day has finally come.
So what does
No
this
surprise.
what does this mean, Michael?
Well, it means that the Fed is the biggest bunch of criminals on the planet Earth. It means that the Fed is not doing their job. Their job is not to manage the economy, like our dear friend, the idiot, the guy who's in charge of it, who might as well have given Kamala Harris a big kiss, because that's exactly what this was. This was totally political, also sealed the fate of the U.S. dollar. One of the few times I agree with Peter Schiff, or should I say he agreed with me, because I said that this would literally destroy the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency, which would spin us into a cycle that inflation will be bigger and they'll be raising rates again, hopefully when this idiot is out of office and the rest of the clowns that are in there, because they're not doing their job. I agree with John F. Kennedy when he said, and he wrote that executive order 2 weeks before he died, hint, hint, that the Federal Reserve was to be abolished.
You're talking about Executive Order 11110?
That's correct.
And by the way, everyone should read The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. Came out in, what year did it come out? 1994, I think, because it just explains how we got here. And it's ridiculous. I mean, the Fed being created in 1913, how we got here. And again, this was written in the early 90s. Let's see, the first printing, July 94. It's had 49 printings. The last printing was September 2023.
Well, one other thing I'd say, but I'm going to turn it over to Wes because I know he feels even more harsh than I do on this. This is a literally slap in the face of the American people. You got the idiots, the ones who are trying to buy into it, trying to go in there and sell everybody the garbage. And additionally, we're also looking at the situation of the people who are supposedly going to buy houses now because interest rates going to go on. Be very careful of how you spend your money right now.
But interest rates are actually going to go up. Mortgages are actually going to go up now, I'm reading.
Not really. I think you'll see a drawback somewhat. They'll see a drawback. You'll see people jump on it supposedly, but at the end of the day, they will go back up. But people will lose their houses because they're going to be in a recession, which we are in the beginnings of right now. And this is what they didn't want to admit. He went up there and said everything was wonderful. The economy is in good shape. It was like a campaign event for the Democratic Party. It gets me sick. The whole thing is really something that is a disgrace to this country, and I'm done. This is ridiculous.
I actually read today that this could send the mortgages rates could still go higher. Why would someone write that? It was a financial page. I'm going to try to find it now, but it said that they could make the long-term interest rates on a mortgage go higher, Wes.
Well, long term, I mean, I think things are, they could initially come down. You got to keep in mind, Brandon, there are conservative economists out there that don't think they should be messing with rates at all right now, that the economy is still hot and they need to be more patient. But again, here we are, weeks away from an election. And I think Powell is feeling pressure, and he lowers a quarter, or half a point. And then in his remarks, he's, saying that we didn't lower a quarter or a half point because we're behind the curve, because there are economists that are, or even Elizabeth Warren saying that they should cut rates by a 0.75 basis. But we're not out of the woods, and they probably should have left rates where they were until through the end of the year and after the election. So, and this has happened historically before, where the Fed has stepped in and lowered rates too soon. And, that caused even more inflation going forward. So that's what people are very worried about. And we talked yesterday about the yield curve being inverted for the longest time in history. I wish I haven't heard Trump say anything about that. But you know, if Trump wins this election, I think that the left is looking at it like, let's get rates lower, regardless, to help us between now and election day. That all things are getting better. Let's paint this rosy picture, like Mike said. You know, Powell's up there trying to talk like everything's great when it's not. And if Trump does win, the country could go into a serious recession, and they'll blame it all on Trump. When what happened today is what would lead to that recession and the inverted yield curve, which has been correct 100% of the time.
One other thing I'm going to add to what Wes said, which is all 100%. Wes is always right. One of the few people is always right.
Oh, Wes.
I get paid off for that. In any event, I want. And if you listen to the beginning, if they play on TV tonight of his comments, he talks about inflation. And when he talks about inflation, he says, based on these numbers, excluding food and housing for inflation, what are the two most important things? Roof over your head and eating, and they're not involved with inflation. That's how they do this, Brandon. They take and they mix around the numbers to make them be what they need them to be. They still aren't doing with the past inflation, and they are legitimately manipulating the numbers to make them look real rosy. Well, here we are.
Here we are. Let's see. I'm going to get you a little clip here. Here's a little clip. Let's play this from... We banned Fox News last night, but we're going to play a clip from Fox News, so we have no choice. Although they're idiots. They're idiots over there. They actually kicked a guy off last night because he spoke the truth. He spoke the truth and said that the Democrats want President Trump dead. And Barney, you know Barney over on Fox Business? Barney? I think his name is Varney, but I call him Barney because his show is for children. And Barney called that a conspiracy theory and kicked the man off the show. I have the clip. I'll play it during Brandon House Live tonight. So there are a bunch of fools over there, but every now and then, you know, birds of a feather flock together. So Powell went over there to be interviewed. So here's what he said.
Inflation has increased notably and will likely remain elevated in coming months before moderating. As the economy continues to reopen and spending rebounds, we are seeing upward pressure on prices, particularly because supply bottlenecks in some sectors have limited how quickly production can respond in the near term. These bottleneck effects have been larger than anticipated, but as these transitory supply effects abate, inflation is expected to drop back toward our longer-run goal. Very low readings from early in the pandemic, as well as the pass-through of past increases in oil prices to consumer energy prices, also contribute to the increase, although these base effects and energy effects are receding. The process of reopening the economy is unprecedented, as was the shutdown at the onset of the pandemic. As the reopening continues, bottlenecks, hiring difficulties, and other constraints could continue to limit how quickly supply can adjust, raising the possibility that inflation could turn out to be higher and more persistent than we expect. Our new framework for monetary policy emphasizes the importance of having well-anchored inflation expectations, both to foster price stability and to enhance our ability to promote our broad-based and inclusive maximum employment goal.
All right. That guy would put you to sleep, wouldn't he? You guys want to comment before I move on to something else? Okay, I'll take that as a no. All right, here we go. Look at this clip. Listen to this one, Michael.
There's been quite an influx across the borders, and that has actually been one of the things that's allowed unemployment rate to rise.
Really? Wow.
This guy, clown. This guy, he ought to be in the circus, really. I can figure what the job he would. It wouldn't be a clown either. It would be shoveling stuff. At the end of the day, this guy is a liar, a manipulator, a politico, and he's got to go. But we're stuck with him. We've been stuck for years. He talks about the last 4 elections he was involved with and he didn't manipulate. Unfortunately, a lot of them were involving Biden, was helping actually in the election that Trump won with the other people. He is a total politico. He is a manipulator. He's a liar, and he's a double talker. He makes the word salad that Kamala Harris puts together a complete meal. I'm done.
Wow, that's all. That's all. I'm gonna have some mugs printed that say "That's all." This is our WVW Broadcast Network mug, but I think we need one that says "That's all,"
Thank you.
then on the other side could say "I'm done." What do you think, Wes? Should we do that?
Do it. Let's start marketing them.
Yep.
Pre-order. Submit your pre-order tonight.
I'm done.
How much are you going to sell them for?
Like some clickers too. Wes and I would like clickers.
Oh, you want some clickers? I got a clicker in my pocket because she just went potty. She went number 1 and number 2. So I know you guys all wanted to know that. So you get a clicker. I carry around a bag. I carry around a bag.
Governor Michelle Bowman.
I'm talking, Wes. I carry around a bag. I carry around a bag of treats. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's how I potty train Dolly. You know.
I'm done now.
You've done that?
No, I said I'm done now.
Oh, you're done now. All right. Sorry. You're going to be like my wife now and not tell me? When I interrupt her, she's like, oh, forget it. I'm not telling you. Come on, please tell me, please. Are you going to pull one of those now, Wes?
I was just going to tell you that Fed Governor Michelle Bowman is the only, she voted for a 0.25% reduction.
All right, there you go. All right, let's go see what Mr. Peter Schiff thinks. Look at here, gold price to surge to $10,000 under Harris administration. That's what Peter Schiff said.
Yep. He also talked about the demise of the U.S. dollar. As I said, under the world reserve currency, the U.S. dollar is going to get hammered. The Chinese are going to walk all over us. They're going to love the gold market going up. And as one guy just said on Larry Kudlow, this is going to force people to go to cash. And quite honestly, what's the benefit of being in cash in an inflationary period? You're much better off being in gold. So there's a big touting for gold right now.
Well, of course you don't want to be in cash either, because if these banks start doing bad, you might have a bail-in. Remember I was talking about, was it Singapore? Where was it? Where was it they did the bail-in a few years ago? And a lady ran a restaurant, lost $100,000.
Greece.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. After they went broke.
Yep. I wish I could find that video. I'll play it. The woman, she owned a restaurant, and she lost $100,000 in a bail-in. Not a bail-out, folks, but a bail-in. Right?
Yep.
Let me see if I type that in. Greece, bail-in, cost, lady, $100,000. See if anything pops out.
I've got an interesting story to tell about a Worldview Weekend viewer, so I'll tell it briefly.
All right, you tell it.
Russ and I, we have a client who's a Worldview person who worked for a state, I can't say which one, but he wasn't paying attention to his pension plan that they were doing, and Wes and I were talking to him. We got him to make a movement to get protected and get out. And when we called up the state to legitimately move the funds to get it done, he was 2 weeks away from a new state policy invalidating the entire amount in his pension. He would have had nothing. So paying attention and reviewing your estate is important right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're games.
Yep. All right, I'll look for it later. All right, here we go. But $10,000 an ounce gold, that's...
Yeah, he's saying that under a Harris administration, that her first term, she would run the debt up to $50 trillion.
Here we go. Fed cut interest rates by 0.5 point, signals 2 additional cuts this year. This is from Yahoo. Watch this. They're going to maybe play a commercial. Or is it not going to play? Remember when we talked about their cheap player, Yahoo's cheap player? So it just spends. I don't know what they're doing with all their funds. All the money they make. Clearly they're not using it to improve their website. All right, here we go. 50
basis point rate cut, the Federal Reserve slashing its benchmark interest rate by 0.5 percentage point to a new range of 4.75% to 5%, marking the first rate cut in more than 4 years. Now, Fed officials see 2 more 25 basis point rate cuts this year, followed by 4 more cuts next year and 2 more cuts in 2026. Breaking down what officials saw, 9 officials saw 4 cuts this year, so that includes the 50 basis point rate cut today. 7 saw 3 cuts. 2 officials saw 2 cuts this year, and 1 saw 5 cuts. Now, officials say in their statement they are gaining confidence that inflation is moving sustainably back down to 2%, saying, removing the word some, and now saying instead that inflation has made, quote, further progress towards the Fed's 2% goal. The statement also reading that, quote, the committee has gained greater confidence inflation is moving sustainably towards 2% and judges that the risks to achieving its employment and inflation goals are roughly in balance. Now, future rate cuts will depend on the evolving economic outlook, as well as the incoming data and the balance of risks. The outlook for interest rate projections come as Fed officials now see the unemployment rate rising to 4.4% this year and holding at that level over the next couple of years. That's up from 4% previously forecast. At the same time, economic growth is seen at 2% this year instead of 2.1% previously forecast. And officials expect the economy to coast at that 2% level over the next couple of years. As for inflation, they moved down their inflation outlook. They now see inflation ending the year at 2.6%. That's down from 2.8% previously, and then moving down to 2.2% over the next year.
All right, I can't listen to that anymore. You were saying I should play the whole thing, but I think
Exciting stuff.
this woman's boring. Why is all these financial shows aren't as good as ours, guys?
I don't know. I give up.
They've got a financial interest in what they're doing. Most of these financial shows are a platform for all the hedge fund boys and girls who come on there and tell you, well, this is bad, but if it's going to be okay and everything's, but if you do this, you do it, and they're all just pitching to stay in the game. So it's a platform. It's a fraternity, and you don't get real shows like ours because nobody wants to tell you what's really going on. That's why we're the bad news bears.
That's right.
We're the happy bad news bears.
That's
Very
right.
happy.
That's right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at this. Billionaire expects the stock market to crash, recession if Kamala wins election. Well, we're already in a recession, so you get that part wrong. But he expects the stock market to crash. I mean, boy, these guys are just, their predictions are about as obvious as that the sun will rise tomorrow.
You want to take that?
That's Paulson.
Well, no wonder.
Yeah. It's again, we're in this position because of the out of control government spending and our national debt and our long-term liabilities. And Brandon, if people step back and just really step back and analyze where we are today. We're closer to World War III than during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's very true. And you saw what happened last night.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some are saying that looked like some kind of missile attack or drone, or they could have just hit a stockpile of weapons that made that big plume. But that was those were a few big explosions last night in Russia.
Yeah, absolutely. And how many people are in our country illegally that hate us, sleeper cells, just waiting for their orders to take action. So we've got the powder keg of what's going on in the Middle East. And again, warfare today is going to be fought much differently than during the first Gulf War. An EMP taking down our power grid, COVID will look like a picnic compared to that.
Yep.
They shut down our supply chains. So I just encourage everyone to step back and take a look at the times that we're living in and what's going on. And, we all have this crazy thing called life going on. And any excuse will do to keep people from moving forward or even looking into precious metals. But I've said it time and time again, this is a time to be proactive. Other than your faith, your family, your health, there's not much more important than your financial future. And if you're not ready to take action and at least explore the opportunity of getting some of your wealth out of a US dollar that's getting crushed and going to be replaced with a digital currency, I don't know what it's going to take other than it coming to that point where it's too late, and you'd rather be 2 years too early than two days too late to transition some of your wealth off grid, out of the dollar and into physical gold and silver. So economically, geopolitically, everything's lined up. There's no reason, it's not to be looking into gold and silver at this time.
In other words, this is a very should be a very easy decision for people. I mean, it's not like, well, I'm not sure what's going to happen now. I mean, it's so obvious where we're headed. Okay, the Titanic is sinking, so
right.
It might be time. It might be time to build a financial lifeboat. You want to get your free packet of information? You can text Wes there 602-558-8585. Just say, hey, I want that free, no obligation packet of information. We'll send it on 602-558-8585. You can also find out about how to put gold into your IRA. Look at this one, Kamala bucks. We're still trying to process the latest assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which took place on Sunday in West Palm Beach. But while that's important to dissect as the election goes closer, it's important to consider a development I've been warning about for over 2 years. President Trump has long been an opponent of central bank digital currencies, or as I call them, Biden bucks. Now that Biden is essentially out of the picture, maybe I should rename them Kamala bucks. I called them Biden bucks because I wanted Biden and his partner Kamala to take full credit for what I consider to be crimes against American citizens. More on that shortly. For now, let's focus on Trump. At a New Hampshire campaign rally earlier this year, Donald Trump reiterated what he's been saying for months. CBDCs are dangerous, and he would never allow one if elected. There you go. So he sees them as a threat. Although today, did you guys see that today was the first day that a former president paid for something with what, cryptocurrency today? He's got his new crypto thing, right?
Yeah, he was at a bar, at a sports bar, I believe it was, and made a purchase with cryptocurrency. And he's, I think, he knows there is a lot of money in crypto, a lot of investors in crypto, and I think he's in a bar.
There he is right there. There he is right there. So he walked in and paid with Bitcoin. Well, why is that a big deal, Michael?
Well, he's validating the industry. That's what he's trying to do. I think there's also some stuff going on as far as the investor, the people that donate. I mean, he's being a little bit of a politician with crypto.
Well, didn't he also just start his own crypto thing?
Yep. Donald Trump is, he's a Wharton graduate. He's a brilliant guy. He also tried to develop a gold digital coin that was involved with gold, and I think he'll do that once he's in office. The biggest thing Trump realizes when he wins, and I believe he's going to win, is that he can't fix the dollar right away. But what he can do is stop the running away from it. And I said it the other day, how he's going to do that is demand that nations that do business with us, and they all want to, have to use U.S. dollars. And if they don't, he won't do business with them.
What are they doing right there? They're taking pictures. They got a phone and an iPad. And what are they doing? Let's see what they're saying.
I know he signed a couple of things.
Right. We need to refresh the invoice.
Oh, it did go through. All right, we're done.
Perfect.
The first transaction by a president on the Bitcoin protocol. History.
You know what that means? History. History of the making. Hello, everybody. I got to go back and see those people.
All right, let's go.
Come on.
Right this way.
Thank you.
All right, the guy who doesn't drink stops in at the bar. But what did he buy? Did he just buy a bag of peanuts or something, or what?
I heard the guy mention earlier in that clip that they had cheeseburgers.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he bought lunch or what.
I wasn't invited.
Okay. He doesn't drink. Neither do I, but he doesn't drink. So I just wonder what he was going to buy. All right, here we go. What's our next one? Stocks and bonds chop as Fed kicks off 50 basis point rate cut, but keeps future options open. New squawk, U.S. market wrap. All right, pretty much we've already covered that one.
Yeah.
Scammers using AI to clone voices, drain bank accounts, as Delate or whatever it forecast. What is that? 30 trillion in AI losses by 2027. I'm guessing that's 30 billion. 30 billion.
Yeah.
30 billion AI losses. I think was it Elon Musk was Ed Dowd. Ed Dowd was talking about all the money that's going to be dumped into this that's not going to make anything for years and years to come. He I think kind of compared it to the .com bust.
As far as in the AI technology?
Yes.
As far
Yeah,
as
but
your bank,
go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, as far as your bank accounts with that, make sure you have a two-layered verification system on your account. So if somebody does call in, they still send you a verification out to verify it.
There have been cases where AI has called someone, like it's their daughter, that's saying that they're being held hostage and they're demanding a ransom. And so this AI technology can duplicate a voice perfectly. And some of these banks have voice verification. So like Michael said, we're at a point where you better have, two ways for authorization to get into your accounts, because this AI and this voice technology is a game changer when it comes to scamming and ripping people off.
Here's what he said. The infrastructure build for AI is the bubble. The AI 2.0 companies that can actually figure out a way to monetize it are the investments years from now. Might as well light a match to this fund. The infrastructure build, like the telecom infrastructure during the dot-com boom, will be oversupplied and the pricing will collapse.
Yep.
No arguments from you guys, I can see.
No arguments.
Decades-old kitchen staple company Tupperware files for bankruptcy.
That's sad.
That is. Because it was so healthy to eat out of all that plastic and put it in the microwave, right?
Yeah, well, it is very healthy. It's lovely. I actually love it. It's one of my favorites. It's great on a sandwich, mayonnaise. It's good.
You used to do Tupperware parties back in the days during the 60s, right, Mike? Tupperware parties?
And the 70s. I remember. I remember those.
I invented Tupperware, actually. So
you invented Tupperware?
No, I didn't, but I know the guy who did.
Oh, okay.
You know who did? You know who did? I do.
Who?
Let's play some trivia tonight, fellas.
Really?
You know who did?
Who invented Tupperware?
Yeah.
Not
No, I don't
Earl
know.
Tupperware.
Who?
Actually, Earl Tupper. Earl Tupper.
Earl Tupper, which is how we got the word Tupperware.
1946.
Huh. Look at that. You, Mr. Pop Culture tonight.
I'll take Tupperware for 500, Brannon.
I do remember when they had Tupperware parties. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's long gone. I was involved in rocks and bowls. And
the creation of the wheel. A decade-long commodity supercycle is just getting started. A decade-long commodity supercycle. Does he put a number on it, Wes?
Let's let me get to that one. Analysts predict a long-term bull market for commodities with prices expected to rise for at least the next 5 to 10 years. Commodity valuations are currently similar to levels seen before the 2000 dot-com bubble and the 2008 financial crisis, suggesting significant room for growth. They didn't give a number on where they see things heading to, just that it's a super cycle and commodities are going to continue to run higher.
And that's going to run inflation, and that's going to run and commodities for all us folks out there is corn, wheat, all those little, beef, cattle, and all the other stuff. All your costs are going to go up. Needless to say, gold and silver will go up because that's the king and queen of commodities. But when they're talking about that, this isn't a positive. This is a negative.
This is not about making money. This is not about making money. So the people that don't, get this, don't understand why people buy gold and silver as a hedge. It's not about making money because you say it's not a positive. And the reason it's not is because this means everything you buy is going up. And the gold and silver is just a small part of your portfolio to be a hedge against it. But unless you, are buying in big time or buying into other hard assets, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with the rate of inflation from eating at your savings. Was that why you're saying it is, not a good thing like you are?
Yeah, you buy gold and you hope that it doesn't go up. But even with Donald Trump, when he was in office, gold went up because he was a big supporter of a real monetary system. He wasn't a supporter of any fake dollars, and he showed that. That's why gold was so successful under his administration.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to say, Wes, in conclusion tonight?
Well, seeing that article too, it talks about the U.S. dollar strength headwind for commodities. Lower interest rates are expected to weaken the U.S. dollar, further boosting commodity prices. So like Michael said earlier, this 50 basis cut, that's bad for the U.S. dollar on the world stage. And that's gonna, we've been talking for some time. For the last 3-4 months, we were talking about if the Fed starts lowering rates in September, that's going to be good for gold and silver. And, here we are.
Well, there you go.
Bad for the dollar. Bad for the dollar.
All right. Good. Get your pack. Get your free pack. No obligation. 602-558-8585. 602-558-8585. Tony Schaefer, Colonel Tony Schaefer on my broadcast tonight, and Dr. Bill Lyle, first-time guest, Dr. Bill Lyle, and a ton of video clips tonight with a lot of news and information, including exploding devices 2.0 in Lebanon. Don't miss out. 7:30 Central Live, Brennan House Live. Take care. Tonight on the Worldview Report, hundreds of electronic pagers simultaneously explode in Lebanon as Israel sends a deadly message to terrorist networks that threatens its existence.